Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, I'm going to be showcasing the Pokemon that I believe is the best possible Pokemon that you can use in the Weather Cup, and it's also a Pokemon that I feel like is definitely going under the radar right now, and that is going to be Legacy REGICE. REGICE, of course, is a pure Ice-type Pokemon with the moveset of Lock On, and we want to run Legacy Thunder and Focus Blast. REGICE is tanky, and with Electric and Fighting, it has near perfect coverage against the entire meta. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out REGICE destroying the competition in the Weather Cup. Hopping to the first match, picking up a great lead, REGICE into Jellicent. Now, water types like Jellicent are why running Legacy Thunder on REGICE is a must in this meta, as Thunder just gives REGICE a dominant matchup versus Jelly. Thunder is going to connect, and as you can see, Thunder is able to two-shot the Jellicent. Jellicent overfarms, returns fire with the Shadow Ball. REGICE has a lot of bulk to it, able to absorb the Shadow Ball damage and make it to Thunder number 2. This will be lethal. This is time for the opponent. Opponent is going to commit the shield. They want to try and win switch. They're going for another Shadow Ball, but bad news for them, it's still not going to KO. REGICE makes a third Thunder, and if they want switch advantage, they have to give up both shields. Opponent is going to let that go. In comes Credilli, and now I'm going to send in Kingdra. I didn't really want to give them an energy lead, so I'm going to send in Kingdra here and see what they have. They go for the Grass Knot on Credilli. Credilli continuing to farm. They're going to send in a Lowland Sandslash. A Lowland Sandslash, definitely not what I was hoping to see, and I a little bit regret my decision to give up Switch. As I did have both Switch advantage and Shield advantage, I gave up Switch, and now my Swampert is going to have to deal with that Credilli in the endgame, so definitely not the best play by me. I am able to make it to the Octazooka with a sliver of HP remaining. Unfortunately, I do not get a debuff. I'm now going to send in Swampert, and Swampert should be able to commit to an incredibly aggressive farm down here if I want to. I'm definitely no shielding the Ice Punch. I'm farming up. They're going for yet another Ice Punch. And honestly, I have to start shielding something, so I will commit the shield there. And at the last possible second, I do decide against the farm down. I go for the Hydro, just because I do want to preserve some HP. Opponent is going to send back in Credilli. Credilli is going to have to deal with a lot of energy from the Swampert. Going for Hydro number 1, that's going to connect. And going for Hydro Cannon number 2. Now this will be grabbing the final shield from the opponent, and I'm looking to catch. I farm up Switch into REGICE. I don't get the catch, but the threat of a Thunder is going to force them to throw. REGICE will be hit with the Grass Knot, and Swampert is going to make the Hydro Cannon. So despite a bit of a misplay there in the mid-game, giving up Switch advantage, we still get the win. Picking up a great lead in the next match, REGICE into Shadow Alolan Sandslash. And something you may notice is as these battles go on, REGICE is going to be winning just about every single lead. And that's due to the fact that Thunder and Focus Blast have near perfect coverage into this meta. Focus Blast is going to grab a shield from the opponent. They shielded, so you know what? I do decide to shield back, and my opponent is actually running Gyro Ball, so a very interesting moveset choice from the opponent. They're going to send in Kingdra, and they have made a mistake. I have so much energy on this REGICE. I go for the Thunder. Thunder not going to two-shot, but this Focus Blast is going to be lethal. Does the opponent respect it? They do not, and down goes Kingdra. And now my opponent has a choice. Do they send back at the Sandslash, or do they show the third? They're going to send in the Sandslash. Sandslash will be forced to throw here, and I'm perfectly fine with letting this go, because I have a secondary counter to the Sandslash available with my Swampert. Swampert is going to look to overfarm quite a bit in this matchup. Sandslash is going to fire off the Ice Punch. Ice Punch will deal some solid damage since it is Shadow. Opponent goes for the catch onto Jellicent, and now I get to unleash the Earthquake. Earthquake is going to connect. I farm up, go for the Surf catch on a Kingdra. Unfortunately, no such luck, and at this point, this game is over. There's not really anything my opponent can do. They can fire off the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball not going to be lethal, and my opponent is going to make another Shadow Ball here, but that's perfectly fine. I genuinely don't need the Kingdra at this point. All I'm using it for is just an opportunity to get some farm on the Swampert. They can bring back in the Sandslash, but Swampert just has an overwhelming amount of energy. Hydro Cannon number 1 gets the shield, going for Hydro Cannon number 2. This is going to be lethal, taking out the Sandslash and securing the win. Hopping into the next match, leading into, you guessed it, another positive lead for REGICE. REGICE is just so good into this meta. Abomasnow gonna farm up a bunch of energy, send in Swampert, and I'm perfectly fine with going for the Focus Blast here. Focus Blast is going to deal massive damage, and now I can send in Kingdra. Kingdra, looking for the farm down Swampert, will make it to the Earthquake. Decision time here, I elect to let this go, because I know I will be able to tank the Earthquake, fully farm down, and leave with an Outrage loaded, so I can outrage the Abomasnow if that's what they decide to bring in. Opponent is thinking about it. What are they going to do? They do send in the Abomasnow, and it looks like they may try and go for a farm down here. Outrage will be shielded. Abomasnow decides against the farm down, not wanting to go over 100, and they're going to fire off the Weather Ball. Weather Ball, of course, will KO, but now I can send back in REGICE. REGICE can very comfortably tank an Energy Ball here. They go for the Energy Ball. REGICE tanks that, no problem. REGICE farming up. Opponent goes for the Focus Blast catch, and Gyarados is going to have a terrible day. Thunder gets their shield. Gyarados will be hit with Thunder number 2. This is going to fully one-shot the Gyarados and just send back in the Abomasnow. Abomasnow wanting to get to the Swampert, but they're not going to see it. Energy Ball gets shielded, and the opponent concedes the match. We see a familiar lead in the next match, REGICE into another Jellicent. I am perfectly happy if the opponent stays in here, and that's exactly what they do. That is fantastic. Unfortunately, the game is stuttering quite a bit in this game, as you can see. Sometimes the hexes are taking the full 3 turns, sometimes they're taking 2, sometimes they're taking 4. The game, unfortunately, was not working the best tonight. They fire off the Shadow Ball. I'm able to tank that, no problem. I continue to farm up. The Jellicent lagging quite a bit. I go for the Thunder, but it ends up being on alignment, and the opponent gets the catch onto an Abomasnow. That is definitely not great, but they just switched an Abomasnow into a REGICE. That is not going to go well. I go for the Focus Blast. It connects. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. Moving into the next match, we lead REGICE into Shadow Abomasnow. Again, a very nice matchup for REGICE. Opponent is going to save switch into their Shadow Swampert. I'm farming up. I tried to go for a Hydro Cannon catch there, but unfortunately my opponent did not throw just before I made it to the Focus Blast, and now I'm in a bit of a tough spot. My Kingdra is very behind on energy. My opponent is able to make it to Sludge Wave number 2, and I actually decide to double shield. It's a bit of an interesting play, but I figured I should be able to farm down here before they make it to a 3rd Sludge Wave and leave with a ton of energy to get those shields back from the Shadow Abomasnow. I'm going straight for the Outrage here. That is going to connect, and now I can farm up, go for the Octazooka, because at this range, Octazooka will basically be enough to KO since it is a Shadow. They do commit the shield. I do not get the debuff, and they're going to fire off a charge move here to knock out my Kingdra. It is the Energy Ball. Kingdra gets knocked out. I send in REGICE, and it's Talonflame in the back. Again, REGICE is just such a good core breaker in this meta. REGICE continuing to farm up, firing off the Thunder just before they make it to the Flame Charge. This will be grabbing the final shield from the opponent, and now I can just send in Swampert. They can go for the Brave Bird, but I pretty comfortably tank a Brave Bird here. They go for the Brave Bird. I'm able to tank that damage, look to overfarm, and the opponent concedes the match. Picking up a bit of a tricky lead in the next match, REGICE into Kyurem. Now, REGICE does win the Zero Shield here, but if shields are used, Kyurem actually does have the advantage due to the fact that Dragon Breath is very oppressive. They're going to fire off the Dragon Claw right off the bat. I'm going to go for the Focus Blast, and then if my opponent shields it, I'm going to switch. I know that if shields are used, unfortunately, I don't win that matchup, so instead, I'm just going to send in Kingdra. Kingdra will be hit with a move from Kyurem. I will respect the Dragon Claw, but they go for the Glaciate, and then they're going to send in Wall Rain. This is not ideal for me. I'm firing off the Outrage, but unfortunately, I've been debuffed from Glaciate, so they're able to tank that Outrage fairly comfortably, and now they can massively overfarm before firing off a charge move. Wall Rain is going to go for the Earthquake. That will be lethal, and I'm going to have to send back in the REGICE here. REGICE is unfortunately lagging a little bit at the start, finally able to unfreeze, go for the Thunder, but I do lose CMP to the Wall Rain. Wall Rain goes for the Earthquake. REGICE able to hang on with a sliver of HP. Again, the bulk of REGICE is just terrific. get the KO, and now I just have to send in Swampert. Odds are they're bringing back in the Kyurem, and I don't think the Kyurem is low enough for a Hydro Cannon to KO. Still, I have to try, as they will make a Glaciate before I make an Earthquake. So I go for the Hydro. Hydro is not enough to KO, and unfortunately this is looking like it's going to be game over for me. They Glaciate, grab the shield, it's Poliwrath in the back, and I resign the match. Looking for redemption in the next match as we lead REGICE into Alolan Sandslash. Back to a very positive matchup, and I'm more than happy to stay in this lead since it looks like they are possibly weak to REGICE somewhere in the back as well. I'm firing off the Focus Blast that will grab an early shield from my opponent. My opponent is the regular Sandslash, not the Shadow, so I'm going to let this through. They do go for the Bulldoze. Bulldoze just does not do a lot of damage. I farm up, they're going for another move here, I decide to commit the shield, and then I'm going to be going for the Focus Blast. I go for the Focus Blast, but the opponent switched and catches on a Tentacruel. Doing midnight sets, my reaction time was not what it should be. I'm going to farm up, rebank the Focus Blast, and then send in Swampert. Swampert is a great matchup versus Tentacruel. Tentacruel fires out the Scald, Swampert able to tank it, and I'm going to look to overfarm by 1 and win CMP over the Tentacruel. This Earthquake will of course be lethal, and if they send back in the Sandslash, Sandslash does not have a great time here. So my opponent is forced to send out their final Pokemon, which is going to be Jellicent. I'm going straight for the Earthquake, no baiting here. Earthquake is going to connect, continuing to farm up with the Swampert, forcing the Jellicent to throw some energy. They're going to go for the Surf. Surf, not quite going to KO, and I'm able to make it to a last-second Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon will get some chip damage, and now I can send in the Kingdra, and there's just not a whole lot that the Jellicent can do here. Jellicent goes for the Shadow Ball, that's not going to KO. In comes the Sandslash, and I'm baiting with the Thunder. Thunder bait, gets the shield, Sandslash too afraid of the Focus Blast, and now I can shield back, make it to the Focus Blast, and that is going to be massive overkill onto the Sandslash. This will KO the Sandslash, but the scary thing is that this will set up Jellicent for a potential farm down. In comes the Jellicent, Jellicent looking for the farm down, REGICE cannot make the move. The question is, can we tank a Shadow Ball here? This is going to be close. Kingdra tanks the Shadow Ball and gets the win. We've got some serious spice on the lead in the next match. REGICE into Midnight Lycanroc. This is one of the only things that can actually do well against REGICE, so I'm forced to save switch into Kingdra, and I'm met with Alolan Sandslash. So everything going wrong in this matchup, as my opponent with that Lycanroc has put me in a very tough spot. I fire off the Octazooka, hoping for the debuff, but no such luck. My opponent is going for another Ice Punch here onto the Kingdra. Kingdra, pretty low on HP, able to withstand it, make it to another Octazooka, but unfortunately this is not going to be enough to KO. I fire off the Octazooka, we do finally get the debuff, and now I'm going to send in REGICE. Opponent is going to give up switch, they send in the Lycanroc, and I'm going to respond with Swampert. So at the very least, I do have the alignment that I want here. They fire off the Psychic Fangs, and I'm going to let this go. And here, I lost count, and they make it to a second Psychic Fangs, and that is actually a problem, because now if they want, they can double shield and just farm down the Swampert, and then I'm in a bit of an awkward spot where REGICE is not going to be able to reset the Psychic Fangs debuffs later on. They do double shield, they farm all the way down, and this Midnight Lycanroc is proving to be difficult. I try going for the Thunder, I accidentally overfarm and play to a CMP tie. I commit the shield because I don't know Midnight Lycanroc counts. It's a Psychic Fangs. Everything going wrong in this game that could possibly go wrong, and they make it to a move on 1 HP. You have got to be kidding me. Psychic Fangs, I'm now double debuffed, even though I have a shield remaining. I just don't really see a way where I can win this game. Opponent is going to send in the Sandslash. I'm double debuffed, I commit the shield, I get baited with an Ice Punch, I go for the farm down, decide against it, and I lose CMP. It's the Bulldoze, and that's game over. Hopping into the final match, leading REGICE into yet another Jellicent. You absolutely love to see it. Opponent, as always, is going to stay in, and I'm more than happy to stay in as well. Unfortunately, the game is stuttering quite a bit. As you can see, the Jellicent froze for a bit, and then did a bunch of really fast hexes back to back. They're going to be firing off the Shadow Ball. I'm going to let this through, and then look to overfarm and go for the Thunder just before they make it to their next move. I'm farming up here, going for the Thunder. Again, unfortunately, the game's stuttering, and I accidentally threw an alignment. Opponent is going to let that go. They send in Talonflame. I pivot into Kingdra, and I'm able to draw out the Abomasnow. So at this point, this game should basically be won. They can fire off charge moves. They go for the energy ball. That will do quite a bit of damage. And here, I actually decide to go for a bait. I'm expecting a shield since there is the Talonflame in the back, and Talonflame can't really farm down. So I get a shield, and I get a debuff as well to add insult to injury. Abomasnow goes for the Weather Ball. Weather Ball not gonna KO, and Kingdra makes another Octazooka. You love to see it. Octazooka is gonna get them low. And now I can send in the REGICE. REGICE, very bulky. They're double debuffed. So this energy ball is going to do absolutely nothing. In comes Talonflame into the loaded Thunder from the REGICE. This is not going to one-shot, but it will definitely leave a mark. And now in comes Swampert. Swampert will be able to tank whatever they throw here. Opponent does full send the Brave Bird. I'm going to throw 2 Mud Shots and the Hydro Cannon to throw on good timing and put pressure on that final shield. Opponent is going to commit the shield, but even these Mud Shots are adding up quite a bit here. Opponent is going for another charge move. They're going to go for the Flame Charge. Swampert continuing to overfarm, just shy of the back-to-back Hydros. Going for Hydro Cannon number 1. Down goes Talonflame. In comes the Abomasnow, and that is a good game. All in all, I do believe that REGICE is one of the absolute strongest Pokemon that you can use in the Ultra League meta, and is currently being extremely underrated. The combination of Thunder and Focus Blast is incredible coverage into the meta, and with its bulk, this thing can take a hit as well. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.